We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on David Long, Miami Dolphins linebacker, going over how he kind of fits in this new Dolphins defensive scheme under Anthony Weaver. We talked about Jordan Brooks playing in that Roquan Smith role. I think David Long is going to be playing more in that Patrick Queen role, which is, I think is a pretty good fit for him. They have some similarities when it comes to being sort of undersized, aggressive, downhill players. I actually think Long actually has the edge as a run defender. He does such a good job shooting gaps, playing with instincts down there. They're probably kind of a wash as blitzers, both good downhill blitzers, get after it, which is nice. Something he will be asked to do from time to time. As they drop people into coverage, they'll still bring four, but blitz their will linebacker, which is what, Long can do pretty effectively. And then when it comes to coverage, which we'll definitely break down towards the end of this video more, I think having Jordan Brooks next to him will help out Long a ton, because they'll definitely give more work, definitely ask more of Jordan Brooks when it comes to coverage, more responsibilities. And I think when it comes for Long, like, they'll try to keep things simple for him, which if they, like last year, if you look at his film, when things were kept pretty simple, he didn't have a ton of eye candy working in his direction. He actually, looked decent enough. Plus, he was playing a lot of, like, zone match in the Dolphin system. He'll get to play more pure zone where he just reads the QB's eyes. So things will be, like, pure spot drop. I think, kept simpler as well there. But when things, were simple, he actually did do a decent enough job. And, he brings an impact as a blitzer. Love watching him work versus the run. It's definitely the favorite aspect of his game, and he just brings like a high intensity and energy to the team, which I think is nice. This is like kind of like the ideal play, I think, to show when it comes to like just linebacker play in general, which I think people have an understanding of, and just what David Long does a very good job of, because they're running some outside zone here. And one thing you look at when it comes to linebacker play, he's kind of working off this combo block, and Long has to make a decision. There's just reading the leverage. It comes to, does he shoot this gap or does he scrape over the top? So you have your shoot option and scrape. And Long does a really good job of shooting gaps, and he also does a good job of making the decision when to scrape too, as you'll see out of this video. And you have to make that decision with how, like, what's your positioning in relationship to the running back. And, he makes a quick decision to shoot downhill. He has a feel that these guys have set the edge here. So it's just a feel thing. Being just smart in the moment, get downhill and meet the running back in the hole. And he does this very, very well. Like, when that opportunity presents itself, and he just understands when to do that stuff. Like, that's ideal linebacker play. Here's a better example of him, like, scraping from the backside of play, because that side he was more on the play side. Here on the backside of a run, you kind of have to, understand the responsibility. They're working some, like, counter stuff. He gets all the way across. I love how he tracks this, too. He stays square to the line of scrimmage. Keep your shoulders square, feet active, and maintain a healthy relationship with the running back. Even he could be like still a step back too, but he just stays over the top, works through all this trash, and meets him, all the way on the other side, like literally like at the line of scrimmage still. That's an impressive play from the back side of the formation. I love seeing, him go to work in different ways too. Long, very impressed. And he stayed healthy for the whole season, which was huge for him, because he kind of had struggles staying healthy in Tennessee, which was always the biggest issue. Like, I've always been a huge David Long fan. Even before he came to the Dolphins, he was a free agent that I had watched beforehand for another job, and he was someone that I had my eyes on, and you get him on a cheap deal because of the injuries, and he gets to stay healthy, which is big. He's also not afraid to come down and get some contact. Like, there's videos of him in Tennessee throwing over offensive linemen. Here he throws over, a tight end. For being an undersized guy, man, he can pack a punch. It's a Zombies reference, but yeah, get downhill, get physical at the point of attack. Very, very impressed. Especially because he reads the split zone. Like, he starts to flow, shoot down very quickly, but he feels this split flow from this tight end working back. So he's able to recognize that. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to try to shoot downhill. I'm just going to meet this tight end at the point of attack, catch him off balance, and then just get control of this cutback lane instead of, taking yourself out of the play, which, sometimes linebackers do that, especially guys who play like David Long. He did a really good job of improving, too, because I do think at the start of the season he was trying to shoot gaps too much. I think he was a little uncomfortable within the new scheme, and he made really good adjustments. Like, here, another example of him kind of working off the combo. Make a decision. Do you try to shoot downhill and get control of this gap, or do you read through the trash here? You feel this play. Do you scrape back over and get control of this gap? That's great work to meet Swift in the hole there. Great decision-making, great processing. He did that very, very well. Here's another, example of him doing some similar things when it comes to, reading these cutback lanes, feel for this leverage, understanding where you're supposed to be to get back over the top, staying square, just beating blocks, doing these types of things pretty nicely. shooting downhill. They're trying to, cut him off with a tight end. And he just feels the leverage of this tight end shoot too far upfield right away, not take the best angle. So Long takes advantage and just gets downhill, rip your shoulder underneath, identify, what's going on there. They're running a draw and make the play in the backfield. He just plays like, he plays like his hair's on fire. That's the type of analogy used for David Long. It's very, very exciting to watch. Here's a pretty fun play too. Like, I think one thing is he will be kept clean within this new system, which is nice. Allowing him to, just watching, if you watch Baltimore, a lot of times it did allow for like aggressive play, especially for Patrick Queen to really just shoot downhill. And that's kind of like why I'm showing a lot of these plays, because David Long is going to get some of these opportunities where he made his big splash plays, I think, even more often within the new system. And I even think, like, I don't even know if Fangio was a huge fan of David Long, because even at the start of the season, he, like, in that, like, Chargers game, he wasn't playing David Long very much, and then the Chargers ran all over us, and then Long got more opportunities, felt comfortable. If you're going to give him space here, he sees, you take that step and open up. Long is going to shoot down, take advantage of it, look at him rip, dip his shoulder, reduce that surface area. He even, gets, like, hooked around the neck there and still is able to help make that tackle with Wilkins. Pretty dominant up front there. Also has some lateral range, too, to get out. I wouldn't say he's, like, got great sideline to sideline range, but he recognizes plays pretty fast. I think he's better within the box, but definitely can still make an impact on those plays, too. And just working through trash from, like, backside of plays is so impressive, because it's sort of like a same side, gap scheme run, pulling the guard and the tight end, and they're, working back same side counter, and Long has to, usually when he's seeing this, it's not something you're expecting. Usually the running back would be aligned on this side if these guys are pulling here. So he has to recognize that, work through the trash, get over the top of, your lineman, make a quick adjustments on your angles and stuff like that. And Long has always done a good job. Solid blitzer throughout the season, whether he's timed stuff up, he's had to beat blocks, get just, good disguise. He's got the closing burst. He's got a nice initial burst. Like to see him meeting this lineman here at the point of attack. Just get control. Good hand placement. Doesn't have like the greatest length or anything, but just get control enough. Win with like your natural leverage, lower leverage, to get hands on, and then boom. He just had control of the A gap there the entire time, which is nice. Long doesn't always have to just shoot downhill and win with his instincts and natural burst that he has, the advantage over the O-line. This is a very impressive play. Like, I don't even know how he makes it. Like, he tries to shoot downhill. Kind of would have, been taken out of the play. But for him to, knock this center off balance, create that space, basically shit himself. But he's kind of out of his position. So he spins out. He spins out from here. The running back is working all the way, to the other side of the defensive formation. He spins out and then closes down laterally to make that play just a couple yards down the field. That is really, really impressive. I don't even know how he makes that type of play, but Long continues to oppress. He'll beat these pullers out in space. He'll slip underneath them. Kind of sets this guy up too, because he identifies the puller coming in his direction. I like how he sets this up. He gives like a shimmy, side shuffle to the inside, which gets, 66 to make this quick adjustment. And then he, boom, just rips back underneath, gets control of the outside, basically sets the edge and makes that play, but also wins by defeating his block. Another example of him blitzing, he's an effective blitzer, whether having him come off the edge or the interior. More lateral range and pursuit, which you got to be able to do as a will linebacker. They're working some outside zone. You're on the weak side of the formation, which will happen, I think, a bunch within the new system. I think, him and Roquan, can both play will, Mike. Things will, become kind of fluid with, their versatile looks. But I think Brooks will be asked to do a little bit more when it comes to, like, the different alignments and stuff, because he has, like, crazy range. But yeah. Okay, we're getting towards the end of this. So, like, this is the coverage where things are kind of kept simple for him. Number 2 works to him, Travis Kelce. They had a lot of, work. Looks like, the Dolphins are basically in some quarter half. They're playing quarters to the bottom, playing cover 2 up here. So he's your, hook defender. He doesn't get a ton of, like, other things fancy. He's basically just focused on Kelce working into his area. And Kelce kind of moves him out of the way, but look how he's able to, show some nice change of direction, quick lateral, agility, get back into a decent spot, stay within, this, take away that throwing lane on Kelce. Like, he does a decent enough job with his movement skills, matching some stuff. gaining some depth. Then he sees Mahomes start to run for it, then come downhill, potentially, make the tackle, but everyone else rallies to him. Those are the types of things like Long can do when things are kept clean. But this is where he struggled last year, I think. When it came to like the underneath crosses, the meshes, when things got complicated, like Baker and him are supposed to pass this off on this call because they're running like their variations of one, but he is supposed to take number one, and then Baker is supposed to find Kelsey, which he does. Baker did a much better job versus the mesh stuff. Long isn't able to see it. I feel like the eye candy stuff gets him. He gets too focused on Kelsey, and then they throw it to McKinnon underneath, which ends up, going into the end zone. So those are the kind of things Long will struggle with in coverage, but he does, a better job when it basically becomes like a one-on-one situation. He doesn't have to focus on multiple different players, and that will be, I think, easier job overall for him. But when it comes to defending the run, Long makes big plays. I think they'll allow him to be very aggressive within this new system. I think another thing that will help him in coverage is Jordan Brooks is a very good communicator. He communicates a lot pre-snap and post-snap, which I think will be big for him, making those adjustments on those types of plays that I just showed, like that McKinnon touchdown. So if you guys like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, peace.